Welcome to Knife Thoughts. This video is going to be on this knife, and this is the Civivi Pyrus. And so this is a really interesting new knife from Civivi, designed by Ostep Hell, as you can see. And so Ostep Hell does a lot of designs for Civivi. I've reviewed several of them, and I really appreciate that he has his own kind of design language. It's kind of a unique look to a lot of the knives, and this certainly has that. So it is a very interesting little knife. As soon as I saw that Civivi was coming out with this knife, I knew that I wanted to check it out. And the first thing, obviously, that sticks out is the fact that it's a ring. So this is a ring knife, and so you can put it on one of your fingers. I think that the finger that makes the most sense is the index finger, like so, and hold it like that. And I have pretty wide fingers, what you might call, I know I have been referred to as sausage fingers. So my fingers are pretty wide. I think on my ring finger I wear a size 13, 12 and a half or 13. So I can easily get this on all of my fingers, on and off. So I don't, except for the thumb also. So I don't think that anyone will really, or very few people will have issues getting this knife at least onto, this area here, which is really where I think it makes the most sense to hold it. So it's a nice large finger ring here, and of course the blade doesn't go far enough into this blade well so that you're going to cut yourself. Even with my again sausage fingers, you aren't going to hit the edge with your finger in there. So it's interesting just for that, but that's actually not the only thing. The other thing that's interesting about this is that it's actually a double detent slip joint. So this is a non-locking knife, and obviously it is a one-hand opening knife. You can see it has this flipper, but it is non-locking, and it's also very, very small in the blade. So this is like a 1-inch blade or something like that. It's very small. I can't imagine that anywhere would have a blade length law that this wouldn't pass. If you can have a knife at all, I feel like this is not too long of a knife. So that's an interesting aspect. It's non-locking, very small, might be able to be carried in some places. You might not be able to carry, a larger or a locking knife. And so then the other thing is that it is this hawkbill, what you might call a hawkbill or a talon blade shape. So it's a really interesting mix of features. And so when I got it, I wasn't really sure kind of what the intention of this knife was. So you can see that it has a pocket clip here, and this pocket clip actually works better than I was expecting. It's easier to get it in and out of the pocket than I would have expected. Particularly out of the pocket, what you can do is kind of reach your thumb in, and then as you pull it out, put your index finger into the hole there. And I actually reached out to Ostep via email and asked, what was his intended holding, or like grip for this knife, and he did say just in the index finger, using the thumb to open it. So I'm glad that kind of I came to the same conclusion as he did there. So again, it is pretty easy to get into your pocket and then pull out, get your index finger into the hole there, and then flip that open. And so I think that this is really almost always how I used it, unless I was just messing around, and maybe I think I held it on my middle finger some just to flip it. You can definitely flip it open and closed one-handed. And I do think that these double detent slip joints are pretty fidgety. They're fun, they're satisfying to open and close. You don't have to do like a separate movement to close it. You can open it and then close it. Open, close. And so it does make it, pretty fidgety. Now, in my use of this, I really used it basically as a little box opener. So Obviously, this hawkbill is going to be good for pull cuts. It really pulls things into that tip. And so it worked great for opening mail, opening boxes, and that's pretty much all that I used it for. It's a pretty small blade. You're not going to do any food prep, I don't think, with this. And another thing is, like, a lot of times these ring knives are marketed as tactical knives. And I was really thinking about that with this. I don't carry knives for self-defense, but it's something that I know is a thing and seems to be a thing with these ring knives. But I really can't see that being the case with this because, one, it's very, very small. Obviously, I wouldn't want to get cut with this or any knife, but it's a very small knife. But really the main thing is that it is that double detent. So if you had the knife like this in your hand and were cutting and hit any resistance, it can start to go. Now, one thing to be aware of, how this flipper is designed, if you have your thumb right here, it does kind of block that. But I think, in a real self-defense situation, it would be pretty easy to slip past that. In fact, I just almost cut my finger there, but, and I actually did hit my finger once closing this and cut it. I forget which finger it was, but I don't see this being a very viable self-defense knife, again, if that's something that you're into. Even though, again, your thumb does rest on this thumb ramp with jimping, it kind of helps to keep it open. If you hit a little bit of resistance, it's not going to just immediately close. I still really wouldn't carry this with that intention. Especially if it did slide forward, then your thumb is no longer on that ramp, and now your finger is right in the way of that blade. So for me, it's not a tactical knife, it's not a self-defense knife, and really I was thinking about what is it, and I think that it's basically a cool novelty box opener knife. So just a small EDC knife. You can put this in your fifth pocket, your watch pocket, and carry it there really easily. I mean, it's a very, very small knife. And, it kind of reminds me of a more fidget-friendly, more kind of fun version of the Civivi Quick Snip. So that's really the main knife that I thought of when I was kind of thinking, what can I compare this to? The Quick Snip is a knife that I think is a cool idea. You can wear this. It's very, very lightweight, and have a little X-Acto blade there to just open a package or whatever and then put it away. So it's kind of a similar thing with the ring. And Civivi has done, for example, the utility Elementum. I don't have a blade in this because I was letting my son kind of practice opening and closing it. But they've been doing some utility knives, and I think utility knives are popular right now. And so I see this as kind of like a little fun, interesting design for a utility knife that you can open your packages, open your mail, and just enjoy, again, the fidget factor. So it's a very cool little knife. It's a very interesting, very different little knife, but it's, sorry for the bump there. It is not necessarily, I think, a knife that would be your only knife, or, again, it might look tactical, but I don't think it makes great sense as a tactical knife. But I have really enjoyed getting to check it out. It's certainly an interesting little knife, and if you are looking for kind of something fun, unique, the Civivi Pyrus, designed by Ostapel, I think is a great option. So as always, thank you to Civivi for sending this knife for review. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and select all. Also, go to knifethoughts.com, where I post articles on knives like this and knife-related topics, and subscribe to the email newsletter there. And last but not least, as always, don't forget to go out and do good.